doesn't automatically start.
Oh, I thought it was an automatic sort of thing.
No, it's not an automatic sort of thing. So when you sit there and you flap your gums and you get a sidetrack.
You are so distracted. You barely know what day of the week it is. Don't even talk to me.
And then suddenly you kind of look up and see the message window that I have now hidden because I'm working on this goofy sales tax Patreon thing. And we're trying to have a discussion about that. And then you tell me it's my fault the show stopped.
You need to go ahead and change your name to I'm Full of Excuses, Paul Cooley.
Everybody knows that's my middle name. I'm trying to get away from that. Don't you know these things? Howdy, folks, and welcome to another live episode of COVID-19 special. What was this, the 7th, 8th, 9th quarantine special? 9th, 10th?
I know. After you've been quarantined this long, you kind of lose track.
Yeah, you kind of do. Anyway, so hi, welcome. I'm Paul. That's Terry. I don't know what we're doing here. My beard is looking epic. That's all I can say.
When are you going to start braiding it?
When it gets long enough, man. It's still going to get like...
And you can go, and my axe.
I need another 2 or 3 inches of beard hair, and then I can do the Charlie thing, only do it even more obnoxious.
You need to get, not to do the Charlie thing. You need to go ahead and do an actual real braid. Maybe you can get some of those weaves where, you attach it to the braid you're already there and it just extends it out more.
Oh my God. That is wow. Wow. Okay, Sue, I see that. I heard that. She says, don't panic, but there's a possum on your face. No, there's a possum living with the cat that's living under my deck. And they're eating out of the same food bowl. And I'm very confused about this thing. I'm not being speciest or anything, but I'm very confused about exactly how all this came to be.
In crisis, it makes strange bedfellows.
But there's no crisis. There's plenty of food to be had. I don't get it. I'm so confused. Anyway, that's beside the point. We should kind of pretend this is a real show and kind of, Grizzly Adams and Terry, really? Veronica.
The Possum King. Before we get this rolling, we do have to go ahead and announce that we are having a Balticon live show at 9 p.m. Eastern tomorrow night.
Mañana.
So 9 p.m. Eastern time. Make sure you get that Eastern time part. We'll be back again doing another live show for an hour for Balticon.
Yes, and we'll have Scott Roche and Chris Lester joining us. So
that's wait a minute. Chris Lester isn't joining us.
He's not joining us?
It's Christ Lester, the way they have it listed.
Oh. That's like, what? Did you hear something I hadn't heard already?
No, somebody went nuts with the spelling.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Okay, so what the hell have you been up to, man?
I have been writing and trying to figure out where I'm going to end this book. I'd originally said that I needed to add a bunch of stuff at the end to tie things in. And I believe I found a way to shorten it down by shifting a good chunk of the assimilation onto book 2. So I'm at 80,000 words. I'm thinking 100,000 words. So I'm in the final setup right now for dropping the hammer on them for the last bit.
That's my favorite part. It's my favorite part of the book. Oh God. All right. So are all of you playing the drinking game at home? First cat sighting. I have been coding because, I got to leave for Austin on Tuesday morning and I'll be there for a couple of days while I replicate systems and idiot-proof some things and we can do some testing. So it's going to be, next week is going to be insane for me because I'll be gone for a few days. And then I'll really be out in the wild with other humans. So fortunately I'll be out of town outside of Austin, but it'll be interesting to say the least. It'll just be kind of like a sleepover in a warehouse. It's not going to be a big deal. There will be no strippers.
Oh, that's what you say here in public.
Unless they are paint strippers. That's about it.
You know, I can totally see that working out somehow in this COVID-19 sort of thing. You have to paint them up, you know, for virus protection, and never mind. I think we should stop right there.
Well, yesterday and today are the first 2 times since this bullshit started that I have had the house to myself.
Your wife's been bugging you, has she?
For a number of hours. No, she has work stuff to do. That's all I'm going to say.
Oh.
So she's been out of the house last 2 days, and I guess starting next week, they'll be back to sort of a regular schedule. So
we'll see whether or not the next iPhone release is going to be, you know, delayed because of all this. I'm betting that usually September is when they announce it. Now I'm like, I wonder.
So the concert we were supposed to go to in April, which was Ministry and Frontline Assembly, which is just like, it's on my bucket list to see both of those bands. If they had Skinny Puppy and that rolled in there, I would be in heaven. But that show was supposed to be in April and it got canceled. Duh. So now they've already rescheduled it for April 2021. And I was sitting there going, I can get a refund, right? But yeah, it was kind of a bad reality shakeup. It's like, how many things did we miss that we were supposed to see or experience this summer and this fall? That's going to be all fucked up.
Gen Con got canceled.
Everything got canceled.
That just happened this week. Dragon Con for the moment is still on, but I find myself skeptical.
I don't think that's going to happen. If it does, it will be only for the Eternal Flame members. And that will be that. Which means they will cut the crowd down from 80,000 a day to only 20,000 a day. Dragon Con's in August.
I'm hoping that 20 books actually happens, but I don't know how Vegas is going to treat, you know, lots of people getting together. Little girl, stop doing that.
Yeah, I have no idea. But be that as it may, we did. I did this Kaiju Life live on virtual Balticon last night, and that was kind of interesting, especially since I think there were 9 people in there, plus Lucy LeBlanc was our tech. So I think there were 9 voice actors in there. It was nuts. But Zoom has this little problem where it doesn't switch voice channels very well. Unlike this that does. And so if you talk over one another or don't give enough time to switch, it doesn't know how to auto navigate between people. So that was kind of an issue. Yeah. 2 drinks. No, it was the same cat, wasn't it?
It was the same cat.
Yeah.
I decided to put her out so she wouldn't harass me anymore. We'll see how well that works out. I
think you got to give it like, you know, a minute or 2 between it resetting, you know, that we've seen this cat already. It's not a big deal. The cat was just here. It's not a sighting again. If we see another cat wander through or doing that, then yeah, that'll be
so that's the official new DRS drinking game rule, that if you see a cat, there has to be another cat before you see that same cat again and have to drink.
Okay, so we don't have to make this bullshit up. And we're not liable for it. One of you out there in the live audience, YouTube audience, or podcast audience, you need to put the rules together for this game. Is how it needs to happen. You need to put the rules together for this game. Then we will never discuss it again.
Have you ever played a fictional game before? One that didn't really exist, but somebody had to make it up because it was mentioned somewhere? You ever watch the old Star Trek shows?
I read a shitload of Calvin and Hobbes. I understand this completely, where they kept changing. There was a game that always started out as football and then turned into the most ridiculous combination of rules that you would ever see because they were just making it up as they went along.
Do you ever watch the old Star Trek series?
I assume we're not talking about the animated series. We're talking about the OST. Yes.
Remember where they were gangsters?
Oh, yeah.
Remember the game?
Federation's coming in. You're going to have to deal with it.
Remember the game they made up to distract them? They called it Fizzbin.
No, I don't remember that. I haven't seen that
to
episode
confuse the
since I was
gangsters so that they could escape, they started making up a card game. They said, "Oh, you're playing poker? You know, that's such a simple game. We should teach you a really complex game from in space." And so they made up these bizarre rules and confused them to the point to where they were able to get into a fist fight and break out. But I had an episode, I think it was a Starlog magazine, an issue of Starlog magazine, where they actually codified the rules of this game.
Oh God, somebody had way too much time on their hands.
Somebody did. So me and my best friend Greg, we were playing this. We read the rules and we decided we were going to play this game. And one of the rules is if you have a tie, the winner is whoever pins their opponent to the floor first. And so we're sitting at the table with the cards and we're doing the thing. And he says, "I got this." And I'm like, and he's like, "Ah!" Yeah, it was very exciting. I think we were like 16, 15, something like that.
Oh, I thought this happened like last week. And it was more recently. That sounds like a grumpy old man thing to do. It really does. Just
I pretty much, other than the beard, I've pretty much been this guy since, I was 12.
Since you were 30s. Yeah. Since you were 12. That's stretching it a bit. You didn't always look like Gandalf.
Oh, I look like Gandalf. Thank you. I will accept that as a compliment, no matter how you meant it.
You're more Gandalfy than I do.
Is it secret? Is it safe?
No, on either account, no. I have to say, I didn't do my research before this episode to figure out topics for us. I was hoping that I could throw that football at Terry before the show, but then we got wrapped up on this conversation about sales tax with Patreon.
We're going to talk this episode about pens. All of these wonderful, colorful pens.
All right, folks. Explain to me how in the hell he could call that redlining if he's got that many pens. Cobalt lining. What was one of those BRG lining? I mean, come on. Oh, good. Now I'm Saruman.
You're actually, that fits your disposition better than Gandalf anyway.
Oh, that's mean.
Now you need to figure out as if the possum is worm tongue.
I may have to name this possum. I really may have to name this goddamn possum. My God. Why do you need so many pens for redlining? Black lining, cobalt lining.
I was going to order red pens for redlining because I've basically used up most of the ones I have on stock. So I needed to order more. And I saw that my favorite pen brand had these really cool colors. And I was like, I wonder how well hot pink would work. Ooh, what about this one? What about that one? And suddenly my creative side took me over and I had to order it because I just needed them.
You see, you are the reason why Amazon and online shopping sometimes works better than going to the store. Oh, you're looking at this. If you're looking at this, you might also want to look at vomits all this shiny on your screen, right? Yeah, That's how that works. They love you. Now, let's see. Jeff Brackett, color-coded editing makes total sense. Are you planning on doing color-coded editing? Yeah, that's that's the part that
I am completely not that organized, but I have used the pink for doing red line edits on one set already, and I liked it, and I look forward to trying the other ones out because, I just love it. I am not going to apologize. I just love it.
Do you have a favorite pen?
A brand of pen.
Brand of pen.
The Zebra Sarasa, Sarasa. I've used them for years, and they're good. They dry fast. They work well. They're great contrast. The ink lasts until it actually runs out. What's not to love?
Somebody gave me, a family friend gave me a Mont Blanc pen. It was a little beat up, and it was also really old, but it was fantastic.
Well, for that price, it should be.
Well, it was old. I mean, I don't know where she got it. It was excellent pen. I think I still have it. I need to find it. But that was my favorite pen. There's a brand I use now, and I can't tell you what it is. I know it when I see it. It's one of those gel ink thingies, but that's what I usually use. That looks like it, except I wouldn't get it anything in that color. Anything in that color.
This color works great.
Oh my God,
it's got high contrast on black and white paper.
It's hideous. It is absolutely hideous.
So according to you, you're more of a cobalt person. Is that right?
Yeah. Cobalt. Yeah. I'd like cobalt. Cobalt be good. I love cobalt blue. It's good. It's really good. It appeals to my dark nature.
I don't know. If I had to go dark, I think this forest green might be for me.
Yeah, that might be good too. It looks more like a BRG.
What does BRG mean?
British Racing Green.
Is that? I had no idea.
Yeah, you need to know that. How do you not know that?
Because I'm obviously not into British racing. Although,
Friction.
if I watched that show that they have, what was the auto show that they had forever on over there, where the three hosts that got themselves fired went to Amazon to do another auto show?
Oh, shit. I know the one you're talking about. I can't remember the name of it.
I've watched a lot of episodes of that. That's about it. That's all I know.
I can't even remember what those guys did.
Top Gear.
Top Gear, yeah.
Yeah.
Top Gear. Now it's called The Great Race or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know what it's called, but one of them got fired because he punched out a producer or something along those lines. And so they all quit and went to Amazon instead. So
Maybe
that worked out
producer
really
had a
well. That worked out really well for the original producers. Good job, guys.
It must have done, well, I don't even want to get into it. I don't even want to say, I mean, we could have a private conversation about what this might be, but I'm going to stay away from that because that way lies madness and lawsuits. We're old as dirt. What? Really?
I'm closer to 60 than I am 50. So, I'm getting dirtish.
Dirt. The Great American Dirt Nap coming to your town soon. All right. Cat sighting number 2. Oh my God. It's always Minnie. Minnie has to be in here somewhere. I don't use a pen much because I rarely actually write because my handwriting is horrible, which is why I learned how to type at like 11 because my handwriting is so horrible. It took me forever to write anything and I couldn't read it. Something my mother still to this day will not let me forget how horrible my handwriting is.
Well, that's back when we had to actually learn to do cursive. I gave up on cursive. Long ago.
I mix whenever I end up writing on the page for anything lengthy, it becomes a mix of print and cursive. And because it's the only way I can read it. My hands have never worked well enough to do that. JR
obviously does not pay close enough attention. He says, borrow Terry's liver. He doesn't drink. The reason I don't drink is I have non-alcoholic cirrhosis of the liver. So drinking with my liver is a bad idea.
The more you know. Terry should be borrowing my liver, not bothering. Don't bother my liver. My liver should actually be very happy. I don't think I've had really more than a drop of alcohol in the last 9 weeks.
I never drank that much to begin with, so giving it up was not a big stretch.
Yeah, not a big deal. Not a big deal these days. I just miss hanging out with the guys every Friday and throwing darts and getting stupid. So
you don't have to drink to be stupid. Just look at us right now.
It's more on lines of, the physical presence of being with other people. This is really scary. Out of the two of us, I'm the gregarious one.
I know, right?
That's the sad thing about this.
The weird thing about being cooped up in self-quarantine is that I don't really notice much different from my regular life.
And mine didn't change all that much either. So, yeah. Would you consider, especially after this, after all this bullshit has gone on, would you ever consider having an office external to the one you have now?
No, I don't think so. I might move part of it into a different room and, ban the cats from it so I could get something accomplished until they yelled at the door loud enough to make me let them in.
That's really sad. I've been thinking more and more. I mean, it's probably not going to happen, but I keep saying that, and every time I say it, something else happens to propel things forward. But if everything goes down well with the project this year, then I'm really considering I may actually need an external space. This is going to be kind of interesting. So if I did that, I would have to deck the halls with soundproofing and get serious.
You could get a shed, stick an air conditioning unit on it, and just go to town.
I don't know. Even if I took away my deck, the guy behind me, I have thought about that, of putting a shelter out there. The only problem would be getting the, if you're going to have AC in there, getting it so it doesn't affect the audio.
Yeah, that would be a challenge.
Yeah, even more of a challenge than the crazy that Veronica has gone through. But either that, or maybe turn the upstairs into the recording studio for real.
See, if you were like Jeff Brackett, you could go ahead and have a tornado shelter that you could go ahead and use for this.
Well, I have a friend who bought a plot of land, I guess, 25 miles north of here, maybe a little bit more. He's got basically half acre to himself, and his nearest neighbor is like 3 acres away. So he's like out and got this huge plot of land, big house on it, and he's just hanging out there. And I'm like, man, that would be perfect for us idiots who are introverted and don't go anywhere. Could get outside, take a walk, nobody's going to bother you. You've got we're going to cook up some meat. We're going to do this weekend. Hey, maybe we'll think about going to the store, but we usually just have that shit to live in. What kind of life is that?
Sounds good to me.
It sounds like a really good idea.
See, when I grew up in a town of about 10,000 people. My parents lived 20 miles outside of that town at the back end of a 2-mile dirt road. I could literally go out on the porch buck ass naked with no worries whatsoever that I would ever see another human being, ever.
Now, for those of you who have never been, on your own or don't know people who are like that, during this quarantine, you should have gone completely the other way and understand what it is to be suffocated around people. Maybe drag that into what you're doing with your writing, because people get weirder than Terry and I, and we're pretty weird. They get much more strange.
When you cut yourself off from other human beings, you don't get the same feedback loop that normal socialized people have, because you become unsocialized, because you don't have the barriers that other people going, that guy's a little strange, or looking at you.
When's the last time you bathed?
All of those things are true. If you
have you actually done laundry in the last 5 weeks?
Do you even have clothes?
I had this horrible vision of tomorrow's live show for virtual Balticon, where 3 of us are not wearing clothes except for just like shirts up front and completely au naturel below, and somebody's camera dropping during the show, probably yours, because of the cats. That was a fear of mine. I have no idea why. By the way, just so you know, we apparently look prettier in a small screen on an iPhone app.
Anything that takes the details away by shrinking our images is definitely going to help us.
Yes, we absolutely agree with that. So is there anything you are looking forward to when this pandemic ends, so to speak, or this period of quarantine?
It's sad, but this is my normal life. I don't socialize much to begin with. All of my socialization is on the internet these days. I don't have any local friends.
Hmm.
Not within, go visit range pretty much.
I do, and I missed them. I missed them a lot.
It's weakness. Cut them off.
It is not weakness. It keeps me sane. Just like doing this show every week keeps me.
No, what you're sad about is you just can't go to the tailgate parties.
Man, I'm thinking don't even get me started. It just, I haven't seen my dad since March. My parents since April. Actually, since February, I haven't seen them. And football was the religion that kind of bound my father and I together, binds us together. It gives us an excuse to get together, hang out, watch TV, and talk and everything else. And it's just been that way for a very, very, very long time. And now this thing's all fucked up.
I'm sorry to have to tell you this. This is going to break my heart to ruin you like this. But with all the lack of football and things that are going on right now, secretly, your father has become a rugby aficionado.
Oh, I hope so. I hope so. Seriously, I hope so. The problem is, it's not like we can watch Canadian football instead. No, it's going to be canceled too. It's not like it's all going to be changed. It's not like we can watch soccer, international soccer. It's going to be the same thing.
ESPN, because they can't play any baseball, has been playing Korean baseball games, from what I hear. They're a little desperate. They
were playing Madden 2019 on ESPN.
They were having the NASCAR race drivers do virtual races like that. I thought that was outrageously funny.
I mean, my God. Oh, it's just so horrible. Oh, God. So
you know what I think would be funny? I think that they should have had the NASCAR guys do the racing, but do it in Grand Theft Auto 5.
That would have been awesome. Speaking of, there's a great new game out for consoles or whatnot called Man Eater. And it's where you get to play a shark, and the shark grows up from a tiny baby shark all the way into a mega, if you're not crap at the game. But you basically are more or less born into a toxic swamp. And then while you go through these stages of life and do stuff, some guy who was in the office or whatever is basically narrating your life as a shark. It's jacked up. But going out and eating anybody who just happens to be swimming by or anything like that, attacking swamp boats, attacking people on paddle boats, attacking anywhere. It's just like GTA, where if you do enough of it, cause enough damage, they send people after you. But you're a shark. So it gets really interesting. Anyway, I haven't played it. I've seen some footage. I think I'm gonna get it.
That might be great.
It might be a more family friendly option than GTA. Just saying.
If I play GTA, I want to have Samuel L. Jackson do the narration for me.
Narrating your life.
That's right. He can only use the word MF, but he can use tone. He can use tone to go ahead and change what it means, but he can only use that one word.
Oh my God, I can see a little bump. Motherfucker.
You bring out that big old gun.
One of my friends, he stayed here during one of the hurricanes because he lived in a very, very prone flood zone. And before the power went out, we had nothing to do, so we were just kind of drinking. I put on GTA 4 or whatever it was. And the moment I popped out of my safe house, this dude walked into me and he goes, "Man, watch where you're going." And Mike's just like, "You gonna take that shit?" Turn around, just pop the guy, fist fight breaks out. And then I accidentally slugged the cop, and it just all went downhill from there. So pretty soon it was 5 stars. He had never seen the game before. He was cackling madly. It was awesome.
That sounds amazing.
And then part of your brain is going, this is so ridiculously violent. It's just insane.
What's the whole purpose behind it? That kind of thing is ridiculously over the top violent because, there's no boundaries. The people, I'm going to take a step back here.
Uh-oh, here we go.
Step back here because we're going to get into something serious. Lots of research has shown that violent video games do not cause people to be violent in real life. Some people are, some people aren't. Most people are not going to be changed from who they are by playing a game like GTA. But it does provide a relief valve if you want to go ahead and just, you know, be free of those societal boundaries. There you go.
The thing where it goes too far, and I can't remember which Gibson book it is, where
there's only one thing that it goes too far. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of things where it goes too far.
When a guy in this anecdote that's told in one of the books, he got so angry at his boss or whatever, or his coworkers, he created a virtual environment where he could hunt them down and kill them. And then eventually he didn't realize he was playing a game anymore.
Societal boundaries again.
Got rid of everybody in the office for real, and didn't even understand that it was real.
I'm looking for the reset button so I can start this game over, but I'm not finding it anywhere.
My save file's gone.
Some bastard deleted my save file.
Yeah, the mental issues. It's just really bad. You're like, oh, this sends a really horrible message, but here I am, a shark running around. Okay, sharks don't have morals, don't have ethics. I mean, basically the entire time you're playing this game, for instance, the narrator is talking about sharks don't care what they eat. All they want to do is eat. It doesn't matter how they eat.
Have you seen the stuff that they pulled out of shark stomachs? They don't even have taste buds.
A whole line about that in the narration. It's pretty damn funny. But regardless, the games are kind of insane. The games are absolutely fucking insane these days, but it looked like a good way to spend or waste hours just having fun, cackling madly while you're doing just really stupid stuff.
So with video games, a lot of them come with stories. That didn't used to be the way it was when I grew up with video games. They were more like arcade games, and they slowly started changing to where they had more complex storylines. But by that point, it was already too late for me. I was already not a gamer at that point for video games.
The storylines were in the inserts. The storylines were actually in the manual if you got one way back in the day.
But what I'm saying is now if you go ahead and you buy one of these new video games, then it's an immersive environment where you're actually in a story and you're manipulating how the events proceed based on how you're doing it. And it actually makes a difference. Maybe this type of video game I would be more inclined to play if I weren't almost 60.
Well, even if
I've been set in my ways now.
Even if you were to play something like that, yeah, it does make a difference. It does get more immersive. That's why people like RPG games, because it allows you to really dive into what the character's doing, and you make decisions about how it's going to affect things. Like that's what makes the later GTAs so replayable, is the fact that based on the decisions you make, the whole game can change for you anyway. And those games are really actually have replay value because the stories do matter if they're done well.
See, now Veronica is saying that I should play Dragon Age, which I've heard the name before. I don't really know anything about it. I'm wondering, do they have, an Oculus version? You could do the whole VR thing. VR is the next big thing, right?
Oh man. I've played with an Oculus for Beat Saber just to try it out and see what that was like. That was completely effing insane. I was like, if I had money, I think I might get one of these, because it was the wireless model. I could just clean out a nice space in the garage and do workouts here with Beat Saber.
You know what you would do? You would go ahead, and you would have just it on the training mode of Star Wars, so you could be standing there with a lightsaber. You would just admit it.
That's not quite how that works. Not quite how that works. But it's good that you're thinking that way, because I thought you were going to talk about the fact that at my version of Beat Saber, I'd be slaying all the Star Wars characters as they were coming at me.
You should.
In time with the music.
I totally believe that should be. Yeah.
Because that soundtrack sucks. DRS and VR.
I can hardly imagine.
Oh yeah. I because I'm a software developer, and because the project I'm currently working on involves 3D, I'm looking at the 3D libraries. I'm like, how long before somebody is going to say, can you make for us a VR so that we can control and better see everything in the environment? I'm wondering how long it's going to be before that happens for industrial. I really do. I really do. Gonna mean I'll have to learn something else or hire people. That requires money, but still. Anyway,
if they want they want new stuff, they has to pays.
Yeah, pay me good. But it just drove me to realize that things are still really moving very fast in the technology industry. And
a couple of years ago, I read something about they were setting up a place that was a kind of like a VR business where you would go to, it was like in a large room, but you would go through this experience in the room, and it was just like outrageous, the things you could walk around and do inside this large room that made it look like you were like on a mountaintop or whatever the hell it was, some great palace somewhere. Right. Something like that would be an amazing experience to have, as opposed to walking around in the closet we call our offices and tripping over cats and everything else in the midst of trying to do your VR.
That would actually, if they weren't so damned heavy and clunky right now, I can really imagine doing that where, since I don't have to look at a keyboard, I could basically just do that in virtual space. That would be badass.
You could do like the Minority Report, spinning displays back and forth.
Yeah, well, for code, that might be kind of good in some instances, but really, I just need the full, 180 degree of screens where I can just kind of flip things around that way and bring it up to front. But I'd still have to type. I don't think voice coding is ever going to work for me. Yeah. So, drink every time Paul says he's a software developer. Okay, fine. I'll just shut the fuck up about my personal life. Anyway, it just kind of made me realize how much things have changed, but also kind of put in perspective the quantum mechanics stuff I learned the last couple of weeks from reading that book, because it kind of changed how things could work in future installments, if you will. Just gave me some really good ideas. So it's just funny. Yeah, there was a meme where a company met in Red Dead Redemption 2 instead of Zoom. Yeah, my comment was it's probably more secure than Zoom. But I can see somebody accidentally pulling out their weapon and shooting their boss or their employees during a Red Dead Redemption style meeting. I can really see that happening by accident.
It's a good way to end the meeting.
It'd be another way to, yeah, that'd be a great way to end the meeting.
Up,
you're all fired. You're all fired. This is the kindest, gentlest way we decided we could do layoffs. We're gonna invite you into Red Dead Redemption 2 and fire you,
folks. We're inviting you into Red Dead Redemption because we've got to let one of you go. Whoever survives is going to stay. We're going to eliminate
battle royale. I can totally see some companies doing that. I really can. Being that dickish. It sounds like something Facebook might do. Battle royale, only with Animal Crossing.
I saw that there was a VR game where you're a cat on an island trying to figure out where the humans went. Doing the VR thing of going around and trying to figure out that kind of stuff from a cat's point of view.
It really is kind of funny how many stories you think about that you want to tell, but they would have to be told from the animal's point of view. I have several stories like that. I've never committed to actually writing something from the animal's point of view or having them be the main character. I've never really figured out how to pull that off. But in games, you can do that so easily.
The last game that I actually played that I did where it had something to do like that is I played Myst. It's been like 20 years, 20-something, 25 years since that game came out. And it was groundbreaking when it came out. I could see how having a VR version of that game might be fun.
The VR has limitations, but the horror games that are there now are really fucking terrifying because of how immersive it is. And in fact, until they figure out the movement thing of really making that work, I think those games are the most effective. Those in games like Beat Saber or something like that. But they can pull you along into a story and give you those kind of environments. And those kind of environments are really easy to make scary. Very easy. But, still. So, as Dean asked, yes, the project is going well, which is why things are moving faster than I want. But anyway, that's all I'll say about that. But, and I don't know what that but was about.
Cliffhanger.
Apart from the fact that I have to figure out the Patreon sales tax thing. I have to go look into this. If any of you are creators, you will notice that they're going to ask you to do that. If you are a patron, then you are going to probably, for some of the shows that you patronize, probably not ours, I hope not ours, you'll have to pay sales tax. And that's not Patreon's thing. That is the states and U.S. IRS. I don't know whoever made them do it. They're being forced to do it.
So you have the controls where you can mute people?
Yeah. Why?
Mute JR. He's in a 5-minute timeout.
A 5-minute timeout?
Yeah.
See, can I
just
do that
because.
Here? But user in timeout. Wow.
It's a thing, is it?
All the messages he wrote in the entire chat are gone. Wow.
That's a little bit more than I intended to do by just, sort of poking at him.
They'll all be back in 5 minutes. So y'all need to talk a lot. Y'all need to send a lot of chats for the next 5 minutes so it buries all the shit.
That is amazing. I thought I was just being funny, but apparently that's a little more serious than I thought I was being.
He hasn't been a patron for months. Fuck him.
Nope, we're not gonna mute anybody else but JR. He had it coming.
Oh my god, that was awful. Terry just Thanos snapped JR.
God.
Oh, holy crap.
He's probably sitting in his office right now going, what? What just happened? What? I wonder if he can still hear us.
I'm not even going to look at Discord. I'm not even going to look at Discord. Oh, great. We've discovered evil new things we can do. Wonderful.
Power corrupts. Absolute power is kind of neat.
Yeah, absolute power is kind of cool. JR does not welcome the new robot overlords. Oh, it was everything personal, JR. We promise.
It's only because, you're kind of a troll. We don't feel too bad.
Oh my God. Terry doesn't feel too bad. He has absolutely no shame at all.
I don't have a lot of shame. I don't have anything against JR, but he makes a fun punching bag sometimes.
Kind of asked for it.
He did. If you watched what he was saying in chat, he kind of did.
I kind of don't pay attention.
I wonder if his messages come back after
They do, supposedly. Where's JR goes and you did nothing? When are they going to come after the rest of us? Oh God. See, this is why I would love to have a streaming show, because of this kind of shit that happens.
I picked the totally right name today. Shady Terry Mixon.
Yeah.
I'm pretty shady today.
Oh, sales tax. Supposedly you will be paying sales tax depending on what you do for your patrons. They will be paying sales tax. As far as like if they get physical products, certain downloads or whatever. So yada, yada. Things for you to know so you don't get shocked. So we'll see how all that works out. And that's what, June? That goes into effect? I think
it's June 1st. Or maybe it's July 1st. It's coming up, though, whatever it is, fairly soon.
Yeah. So you shouldn't be too shocked by that.
I went ahead and deleted the highest tiers of rewards that I had because I didn't have any people in them anyway. And the bottom 3 are perfectly fine for what I do. And since I'm doing preview chapters, I don't think anybody is going to be zapped for any sales tax related to my Patreon levels.
Right. Really?
What?
Really?
Did he message you?
No, not him. Somebody else. Somebody else is watching the show.
Who are you banning? They're saying.
Yeah. If you guys, uncool, you effers. Yes, this is why we cannot have nice things.
We've made him mad.
Well, it's just Jeff imagining. Yeah, probably screaming at the screen. So that's not going to affect you and your patrons at all. I don't think. Well, I don't give away anything commercial or that's been published. You get the pre-polished stuff.
Mm-hmm. Same here.
So that's not production. So we'll see how that helps or whatever.
I think it's probably going to be a very minor effect. We'll know who messaged Paul as soon as their messages disappear.
Now wait a minute. Wait a minute. I was instructed to ban him. So I pulled the ban button. I have no idea what was going on. I did not see anything. I assumed Terry saw something. I was unaware this was a complete and total test of just whatever.
Well, I was kind of actually just, talking crap. And then when you said there was one, I was like, ooh, I wonder what would happen.
Well, now we know. Someone objected to your... Actually, it had nothing to do with our totalitarian tendencies. It was on a completely unrelated matter, I promise you.
You should think of it this way. JR likes being killed all the time. This is the way of killing him during the show. Yeah, you should be happy for that.
I'm kind of all for it, actually. God, we're so going to hell for this.
Yeah, pretty much. He'll be back in about 2 minutes screaming and shouting.
Yeah, probably. So I had never thought of before as using proton unfolding or something like that in lieu of space travel.
What is proton unfolding? Yeah, he was only muted for 5 minutes. So
yeah, he'll come back.
He should be back in a couple of minutes.
He'll be back in a couple of minutes. If a proton, and I haven't investigated this fully, the 3-body problem postulates, the book anyway, the way the physics works is that you can take a multi-dimensional object like a proton, something that has no mass, by the way, absolutely no mass. If you could take it from the, say, 9th dimension, where it is the size as well, it's in 3 dimensions, it is the size it is. But in multi-dimension, it's actually much larger in area, because you could take a 9th dimension object, you could unfold it, and in each unfolding, it takes up more square area. So you could take it and unfold it into 2 dimensions, and it would be ridiculously massive. And then you could do things like etch circuits onto this 2D plane. And then basically you fold it back up into its original version, you accelerate it, and you send it. Single proton. Really interesting idea of getting around the necessities of space travel. But if you could figure out a way to do more than that, but use the same kind of mechanism for it, it'd be a very fascinating alternative to von Neumann probes or something similar. Or that could be a von Neumann probe.
So your Death Star could just appear. Poof.
Yeah, and if you use quantum entanglement, you could have simultaneous communications with it.
A fully integrated Death Star.
A fully integrated Death Star, the size of a proton. Just think about that for a second. Really, really kind of scary. It's just like you start including that stuff in what you're doing, and suddenly you have all these other options. How would this work? How would this change if somebody had access to this technology? What kind of mischief could they get up to?
I think we're coming back to absolute power again, because that sounds like, you could do some absolute power based stuff on that.
Is this, yeah, okay. So let's say we don't need communications necessarily, or for monitoring. We just implant at your birth. We take a proton from your body that's already quantum entangled with you and do this. And that proton is always in your body until
so
you die.
You could have like a transporter that moves you from planet to planet, space station to space station.
Well, wow, you'd have to really get around some things to make that happen. But the idea would be if somebody wanted to find you, all they would have to do is basically ping your proton.
A tracker.
Yeah. They could find you anywhere. Yes. What if an AI got hold of that tech? See, it's so nice when other people
That's why we
are
can't have nice things.
Following the directions that my brain goes, It's a very interesting idea, though, to use that kind of technology for craziness. And one wonders, with what they've got going now, yeah, they can do this, but they really can't do anything with it. What happens in 50 years if we find this out? How would that change communications on Earth if all you had to do was connect the protons together?
I don't know. You'd have to have a lot of protons in various places to have, communication that's not just point to point.
Well, yeah, but protons are plentiful. They cost nothing. It costs a lot to do stuff with them, but they cost nothing.
It's much less, intrusive than having your communications based on testicles.
Well, there are some people who would say testicles are pretty cheap.
Ouch.
They're plentiful.
How much time is left on his timeout?
I don't know.
Does it tell you?
I don't know. I've never looked at this before. You have caused problems for me, and you're so mean. He's no longer listed as even a participant. Oh, there he is.
Did you ban him forever?
No, I did not ban him. He shouldn't be timed out anymore.
Maybe he's off, cursing me for being so mean.
Yeah, I think he left us. That's all your fault.
Sorry, JR.
He's lost in the quantum realm. One of the things that they brought up in this book was if you do this proton unfolding, what happens when you fuck up and you fold it into 0 dimensions?
That's where the writer comes in.
Well, it's really interesting. If you use a neutron or an electron to do that, you just created a black hole. Because it has infinite mass for what it is. It has no size, it's infinite mass. So the reason why they use protons is if it does create a black hole, because it has no mass, you can just basically demagnetize it with a opposite electric charge, or so the theory goes, and scramble the black hole. Which leads to the question, can you unfold a proton into a black hole and use it for propulsion?
Sure, why not?
Think about it. If you could basically create a black hole focused in one area, or basically shoot it ahead of you, so then it drags you, but it dissipates as soon as you get close to it, so it doesn't have time to get really huge or really too big, would that work as propulsion? I don't know. Well, if you're using it to drag you instead of propel you.
It's one of the space drives that I heard mentioned in someone's science fiction involved black holes. You had a machine that would generate a black hole in front of your ship, and then you would fall into that black hole. And because the black hole is being generated from your ship, it's moving, so you are falling continuously into it. So you're accelerating. You're continuing to accelerate. It doesn't even matter what your mass is because you continue to accelerate. And the space drive came in when you hit the speed of light, and boom, wormhole, you're in super light speed.
Gotcha.
So if somebody can use something like that in their science fiction, you could certainly use that for yours.
No, it just is such an interesting. Yeah, that was my question. Would it cause a lot of turbulence? Yeah, forces might be a little difficult to control. I have no idea. I am not a physicist. I imagine it wouldn't be a very bumpy ride unless you had some way to diminish gravity waves or whatever the hell black holes produce to go that back. But see, like I remember reading books in the 80s where they postulated that one way to do propulsion, and they kind of did this in The Expanse, is you're basically firing a nuclear bomb, for lack of a better term. You are actually firing a nuclear bomb into the engine, and it's blowing and exploding constantly behind you, little particles of deuterium. And you're basically just using nukes constantly behind you to propel you, control nuclear detonations.
Yeah, they're talking now in the chat about relative mass relative to the size of the singularity. The tidal effects might rip you apart. You know, if you start really getting into hard science fiction, you discover why we're not already using the technology. We're fiction authors. You know, we can just go ahead and hand wave at some of these problems.
Yeah, we solved that problem with hand wavium. It's all good.
Exactly. So did you cross circuit from A to B? Why, yes, I did.
But see, you know, in Paul Cooley's universe, you use this drive, and the one time it fucks up while you're testing it, it rips a hole into something and drags you in. And really bad things happen. Or you just open a portal to some other place where interesting things are going to happen. Yeah, the Orion drive. So it was something like that. Something called that.
That is correct. That's what it was called.
Okay, because I remember reading about it in like '83. They had come up with the scientific principles and dumbed it down for his kids.
It's actually much older than that. I think it was like the 60s is when that idea originally came out.
Yeah, okay. That's where I got it. But it was dumbed down in some kid's science book.
The shock absorbers would have to be hellacious.
Fuck. Can you imagine? God damn. I think the black hole mechanism is a great idea for a non-human inhabited starcraft.
One of the things that it may have been in that same universe of books, maybe not. There was one where you have this was Glenn Stewart had his this way. Humans could travel at a certain speed, but they had a faster spaceship drive. But they couldn't use it for people because the radiation was lethal. It generated the radiation, so there was no way to shield anything in it. But machines could be fired. Missiles could be fired at this high speed, but not people.
Okay. They made that mistake in the documentary called Event Horizon. Yes. Oh, yeah. Footfall. Yeah, the Orion Drive and Footfall. I had completely forgotten about that book, and I would mention it on this show, but it's been years since I've read that. Holy crap. Yeah. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, Event Horizon is one of my favorite flicks, by the way. I would have done it differently, but it was a good book. Or good book. Good movie for what it was. They had some terrifying ideas, but yeah, that's what I'm wondering. And Three Body brings this up every time we smash a proton or smash something in an atom smasher. If you start thinking about the fact that each of these particles exists in multi-dimensional space, micro-dimensional space, then how many civilizations are being destroyed every time that we smash an atom?
All of them. Every single last one. Because that's what we do.
Yeah, I read all about that. I was like, yeah, I need more drugs to even think about this. This goes back to the Animal House discussion about if one cell of my fingernail could contain an entire universe, then one cell in God's fingernail could contain this universe. Wow. Can I buy some pot from you?
When I was a kid, I read a story about a star drive that worked. It would move the ship, but moving the ship from one star system to the next caused a star somewhere in the universe to be extinguished.
Yeah, be extinguished. Yeah.
And this guy goes on a long trip to find out the meaning of why we're born to suffer and be crunched down and eventually die. And by the time he gets to the place where this wise old man is to answer the question, basically he's extinguished every star in the universe. He's alone. This one star in the place that he went to, that's it. There's nothing left. He's basically killed everything in the universe. And the wise man on the top of the mountain goes, why not? So I threw the book.
Threw the book.
It's like, really? Really? That's your answer, bastard?
See, okay, parallel universes. Here's what confuses me about parallel universes. A parallel universe is nothing more than a dystopia. By definition. Because the universe you're living in works a certain way. A parallel universe with different rules, with different history is automatically a dystopia. But here's the trick. It only is a parallel universe if you draw attention to the fact that it's a parallel universe. Otherwise, it's just a universe. It's alternative history. So that was my question. When somebody describes a parallel universe, does that mean that the two things are colliding?
Could be.
No, it would not be a utopia, because somebody who lives in that universe is going to have shock, big shock at things that would work in a utopia, the way things would work. They would find it very undesirable. So I think that's all about perspective. Dystopia is perspective. That's just my 2 cents. What are your thoughts, Terry? Parallel universe, does that cover it pretty much?
I think it does.
I mean, you've used parallel universe in your book.
I have.
In your books. The timelines are running along with each other. Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I guess that's right. But again, you only know that if you're, again, living in that parallel universe, or calling attention to them, I guess I should say. That's why it's very interesting to get these games or old movies where it's like 2020. They're expecting to be, moon and doing all this, that, and the other. Yeah, that even then they should have known that wasn't the far enough ahead, but I think they were rather optimistic. But yeah, that's fine. That's okay. But I don't really consider that a parallel universe. Yeah, 2 streams headed in the same direction. Okay, yeah.
Well, Sue says, I'd like to just know how to get out of this timeline because that she swears we were kicked back into 2016. Dystopia is where you discover that, you wake up like Groundhog Day and every year is 2016. Or every year is 2020. Boy, that would be a horror movie, wouldn't it? Every year, 2020?
Oh, fuck that, man.
What
every
will
year
go wrong next?
The first 4 months of 2020. Yeah, it would just be perfect. No, that would not be perfect. I want to move forward. Thank you. Forward, away from the past. Away from the present.
Which month in 2020 does the kaiju arrive? That's what I want to know.
Somebody created a fictional timeline for the rest of 2020, and I think at December it was Godzilla comes up and starts smashing Tokyo, and then I think 2 days later was the alien invasion. It's been that kind of year. Yeah, the Black could be in a parallel universe. This is true, and the Black actually kind of is. I guess. Yeah, it is. It definitely is. Kaiju Kitty attack.
There was, oh God, I'm trying to remember now. The same guy that wrote the story 14, the novel 14.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that?
Yeah.
He wrote
whatever.
Yeah, Peter Clines. He wrote one called Doors. Was it? I think it was called Doors or something like that. Where
Outland?
No. It's where somebody developed a matter transmitter where they could transmit things and people from point A to point B. Halfway through the thing, you already see the clues ahead of time, but halfway through the thing, you discover they're not transporting them from place to place. They're transmitting them from universe to universe. And they discover some of those universes are really, really different. Most of them are very close to our own, and you don't even really notice the differences. But then sometimes you get one that jumps a little further.
Yeah, the one where Cthulhu is kind of hanging out in the clouds and beating the shit out of everything.
Well, I was referring to, the one where they jumped a little further is where one of the guys that went through, his office was on the other side of the hall than it was before. And he was bitching at everybody because they played a practical joke and moved his entire office.
Moving his stuff, yeah. They moved the entire office and moved his office, yeah. And everybody's like,
Cthulhu's a little further along than that.
Here's the problem with writing a kaiju cat. There's no way anybody could take it seriously as looking anything other than the ridiculously cute thing it would look like. There's just no way. I don't think you could make it hideous enough to get away with it. If they knew it was a cat, they're going to think house cat.
Well, if you're going to go ahead and, make it a cat horror thing, we have to have this being the flat earth so it can knock everything off the edge.
I disagree. Cthulhu is not in accounting. Cthulhu is actually in HR. Hastur might be in accounting, but Cthulhu is definitely in HR. I just can't think of a way to make a cat. I just couldn't do it because every time I was like describing this cat going crazy and killing people, in my mind, I'm thinking grumpy cat. I'm just thinking that it just won't work. Nobody would take it seriously.
Yeah, that would be kind of hard to get away from.
Grumpy cat tearing through downtown Houston. Oh, God. Oh, the images. Does that make Clifford the Big Red Dog a form of a cuddly kaiju? Technically, yeah, I guess. If we're going to qualify monster based on size, yeah. 4 feet tall murder hooks. Oh.
It reminds me of you mentioned Outland earlier, and that was done by the same guy that did the Bobaverse novels,
right?
Which isn't Peter Klein's; it's Dennis E. Taylor.
Dennis E. Taylor.
And when they went to the alternate world and came back, they inadvertently let some dire wolves across. And there were news reports that kept coming, percolating back into the story every once in a while about this really beefed up wolf pack causing some problems.
Where did this come from?
I can see a dire wolf causing, a lot of questions.
Oh, man. Oh. Yay, Bobaverse, not just because it was Bob. Bob. Who names it?
Remember,
Bob?
If there's an alternate universe with the Bobaverse, it's still the same because Bob is still Bob spelled backwards.
And Bob is starting to exist in infinite realities. So, what's it matter, really? It's all him. JR has giant wolf things in the Reservist.
He's right now crafting them in his lab because we kicked him out.
I am going to catch so much shit for this. I'm just the idiot to pull the button.
Oh, no, it's all my fault. I accept full responsibility for this. I didn't realize, where we were going with this, but I think I may have, torqued him off a little bit. Either that or he's off running errands. Who knows? With JR, one can never tell.
Uh-huh. Yeah. We'll see. I'm going to get blamed for this. Anyway, as I was saying, I've stayed away from writing kaiju fiction because it's always very, very difficult for me to imagine anything other than a guy in a rubber suit stomping around, because those are the movies I saw. So kaiju always makes me think that way. I just have not figured out. Well, I kind of have figured out now how to do it, but yeah, I won't go into that any more than that. I didn't know it was going to boot him for 5 minutes. I thought Terry knew what was going to happen. I just hit it.
Like I've ever run this thing before. Like I have administrative privileges. I'm just the troublemaker.
I got nothing. I don't think
you're supposed to be the adult in the room. How could you let this happen?
Are dragons kaiju? Is fantasy kaiju fiction? No. No. Dragons would be kaiju if they weren't supposed to exist where they are, or if they are gigantic representations of a smaller animal. That would be my 2 cents.
I don't think he's gone forever. I think he could come back.
You don't think?
That's it, Paul. You've ruined it for life. You've banned him forever.
Apparently.
5 minutes is now eternity.
Yeah, I don't think dragons in fantasy is kaiju fiction. That's where I would draw the line.
Yeah, I don't think it is either. Dragons in fiction is more like, oh gosh, alien races in science fiction.
Yeah, I guess.
That's how they're treated anyway.
I've never read the Pern books, so I'm not sure. I've heard of them, obviously, but they're
excellent.
So I've heard. Doesn't mean I'm interested.
You would not believe how badly I wore out a copy of one of those books.
That doesn't really surprise me when they start coming out. 82 or something like that. Oh God, it's show and tell time again.
This is my copy of White Dragon. I have beat this book to hell and back.
What's the publication date?
I don't know. The copyright page is missing.
No. The reason why it's in so bad shape is he got that, one of the illegals where they ripped off the covers and threw it away and yada yada.
No, there it is. It was made in 1978.
Okay. All right. So they've been going on since the 70s. Again, doesn't surprise me that you would tear that up. I remember that being very, very, very popular.
I read this book. That particular book is one of my favorites in the fantasy genre, even though it's science fiction. It's written as fantasy. And I had read that book so many times that the book just fell apart. The cover came off of it. The back cover came off of it. I have destroyed that book. I really should buy another one.
Oh my God. Jeff, I guess I've never seen Rain of Fire, but I know what it is. Yeah, I guess that'd be kind of kaiju apocalyptic fiction. As dragons just kind of show up and start fucking shit up, that sounds like kaiju to me. I mean, technically, the black already is kaiju fiction for what happened in the first book. Technically, I guess. I don't know. Dragon Song, Dragon Singer. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I love those too. Weirdly, I've read out of the White Dragon is the 3rd volume in the Dragon Riders of Pern. I started with the 2nd book in it and never got around to reading the first. I didn't discover that I had mistakenly skipped it, and I've never read it.
Wow. That was kind of like me with Jim Butcher. I didn't get really into the Dresden Files till the 3rd book. The 2nd book was really tough to read. I don't know why. It just didn't grab me. Was that Fool's Moon, I think, is the 2nd one?
I think so.
And the first one really didn't grab me all that much either. But then the 3rd book is when I fell in love. I think that's the one that starts with the wall, the building was burning and it's not my fault. I think it's that one where he gets the puppy. So that book really, really married me to the series. I just haven't read it since the book where he things happened. Anyway. That's a series where I think you could drop in book 3 and miss nothing. Just kind of figure out it out as it goes along. That's
you know that there's some new Dresden coming, right?
Yes, Peace Talks or whatever it is.
Peace Talks and another one. While he was writing Peace Talks, he used the talk about it to cover writing a 2nd Dresden Files book. So it's coming out later this year.
Gotcha. Yeah,
and based on the title, I don't think the Peace Talks are going to come out that well.
Probably not. I think it's just called Ghost Story, isn't it?
Ghost Story, yes.
Yeah, Ghost Story. The book previous to that's where it stopped when it ended.
Yeah, it's been a long time, so I don't know. I've got them already pre-ordered on Audible, so when they finally get around to dropping, I will be right there. And it's only, gosh, it seems like it's only like less than 2 months now till the next one drops.
Interesting. There are probably a lot of series like that where the second or third book is much better than the first. Because in episodic, you should be able to drop in anywhere to a certain extent and kind of pick things up as you go along.
I would disagree with that. Let's use Dresden as an example. While it's episodic, each novel builds upon the events of the ones that came before it. Each one, and that's why some of the early books are often in a series, a little lackluster, because you're still developing the world. You're still getting the picture of how everything works. If you tried to read one of the later Dresden Files novels, there would be all these characters with past history that you just would not, you would be like, what? Who is this guy? Where'd he come from?
Butcher usually gives you enough of a hint about, remember this person who did this, that, and the other. And he gives you enough of a hint that I can go years without reading one of the books and immediately start putting the pieces together. Ghost Story, the one previous to that, the way it ends, the way that one ended pissed me the fuck off. And I just decided I wasn't going to read, and I haven't.
Where he got shot dead? I think we can go ahead and have a spoiler now.
Well, since that book's called Ghost Story.
That spoiler alert, he comes back to life.
That book made me stop reading the series.
I can see where it would. It changed the tone. Ghost Story and the book after it, the tone was different.
Yeah. So that was where I stopped reading. I guess it makes me a bad Butcher fan, but that's just where I was kind of like, yeah, I'm done.
Grit your teeth. Come on, man.
I'll probably get back to it eventually, but only when I can afford the Audible credit. Right now I'm in between audio credits. This is a terrible thing.
You can buy more Audible credits.
Yeah, but financial situation slowly improving, but not improving fast enough for that kind of thing.
Luckily, I've got like 1 billion audiobooks that I can go ahead and read.
Yeah, you asshole. Listen to. By the way, there was some humongous fight going on Twitter because some asshole made some comment about you're not reading if you're listening to audiobooks. It's not. You can't say you read a book until you've actually read it.
Morons. That's Twitter for you.
Well, I was like, wow, what I saw. It's just like when people put out a tweet like that, or somebody makes some kind of grand statement like that, it's like this or it's not. It's like you're just asking for a fucking fight. You're just asking for everybody to come look at you and go, oh, I disagree with you. And pretty soon you get 42,000 retweets about what a dumbass you are.
When somebody says something crazy like that, I just close my eyes and I envision Veronica dressed up in one of the 80s style kung fu gis with a thing tied around her forehead going, and taking them out.
Oh my God. Oh, anyway, yeah, if you're wanting to study a bit of text, yeah, being able to look back over it makes a big, big difference. Big difference. I would never try and I might listen to a literary work, but I would use that as an excuse to go back and make notes of sections I want to study in the text. But I would listen to it on audio first, so I got the story that way. So I wasn't bogged down anywhere else. If I was going to study, that's the way I would do that. But yeah, I don't think you want to tear apart a literary work by listening to it. A non-fic book about the craft of writing, I really like it. I'll buy the book. Yeah, I know there are folks who, even with my work or Terry's work have or any author's work, have discovered them through audio and gone out and bought the actual Dead Tree editions. And I'm sure it's gone the other way too. So yeah, I mean, like a podcast. So I find an author who's doing a podcast and I really enjoy the podcast, I'm going to go buy the damn book. So I want to support the authors so they make some more. And
basically, you're getting two different versions of the same story because the text doesn't tell the story the same way that a narrator does.
Oh yeah. And if the author's narrating it and they know how everything sounds in their heads. So it's kind of cool to get that every once in a while. I'm not as polished as I'd like to be, but I do a good enough job that I get comments about people saying we can really hear the characters because we hear them the way you hear them. Yeah, if I was a better voice actor, you'd hear them the way I hear them. But yeah, that's the part of audio narration that is fun when it's your own story. When it's your own story. Oh, thank you, Dean. I appreciate it. Yeah, so if you want to support authors that are giving you free content on YouTube or whatever, find a way to do that every once in a while. I want to write a series called the Dead Tree Editions.
The Dead Tree Files.
If you really want to get meta, you would do it as a YouTube series talking about audiobooks, talking about Dead Tree books. If you really wanted to get meta.
Wow. Yeah, that's meta.
Oh my God. Oh, it just sounds so disturbing.
There's something wrong with you, boy.
I was this fun. People will be like, why is he ruining a perfectly good story with this shite? The Dead Tree Editions. I like that, though.
Start writing.
All right. We need to get some closing questions here, closing comments from y'all. This is 4:22. And I'm so far behind on getting podcasts out. It's not even funny. And at some point, I need to actually write today and eat.
Eating is always good.
You can tell I was alone in the house all day because I really haven't eaten. It happens. Not really sure why. It just happens that way. But it's been another good little chat on a Saturday.
For most of us.
Yes. Yes. If JR hasn't completely rage quit everything, please know that I was not aware it was going to do that. And I wasn't thinking. I listened to Terry. I will never make that mistake again.
You should never listen to me. I've sent him a message on Facebook, and maybe I'll go ahead and invite him to come on to the next live show so he can, tear us up in person for, being so rude to him.
Oh yeah, I can program a robot that can't remember to eat. Yes, I know. And the cobbler has no shoes. The cobbler's children have no shoes. I know how that works.
You could program a robot to tell you to eat and make a meal for you too.
Any updates on the next Soul and Beyond book? Well, I'm recording Trident for the patrons right now. You mean the book after that? Yeah. I'll talk about that soon.
Phoenix says we should ban him while he's on live feed with us. That's rude. I'll think about it.
Didn't that already happen? Jesus.
I am such a troublemaker.
You are. Look what you led me into.
If I knew this was going to cause this much chaos, I wouldn't have suggested it. I'm an impulsive guy.
I thought you were going to say, if I had known about this, we would have done it so long ago.
That's the other side of me that thinks that. I thought when it was muting, I thought you could, stop him from putting any comments in there for a bit. I didn't realize it was going to kick him out.
Well, it kicked him out of chat. It kicked him out of chat. It didn't kick him out of the show. It kicked him out of chat. But yeah, I was kind of
JR, if you've rage quit, we're sorry. I'm sorry. I'll kill you in another novel, I promise. I can do it right now. I've got a spot where I can kill JR in a spectacular fashion in the novel I'm currently writing.
I realized I can keep bringing Thomas Reed back to life and kill him again and Soul and Beyond over and over again. Have
you thought about for Thomas, you could go ahead and, clone him so that it slowly starts growing from the big toe onto, more of him? Oh, have you thought about having a mad scientist bring his toe back to life? That would be brilliant.
Wow. Wow. Oh my God. Yes. 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 Okay. All the clones on a station are made from a certain person's DNA, and that there's an explosion, and all that's left is one of the tech's toes. So instead of making clones from the actual cloning material they're supposed to use, they have to use the material left on Thomas Reed's big toe.
There you go.
Oh, fuck yes. I like this. And then, the things I could do. Oh, yeah. I like it.
You start having the weird genetic diversity, and you can start playing with different versions of him.
Find new and interesting ways for him to die. Due to damage with the AI unit, whenever cloned him, it accidentally included a piece of fungus in the DNA. And oh, God. Oh, Jesus Christ. Why do I have these thoughts? Why? Was somebody,
because you're a writer.
Was someone, what, Van Gogh's ear back to life?
I heard that.
Would he cut it off again? Brought his ear back to life. I assume brought him back to life through his ear, through cloning.
If somebody did an audio production of that story, I'd listen to it.
Oh man, that would be so goddamn funny. I really
sorry,
need to sit down and
that was an ear joke. I'm sorry.
Oh, that was an ear joke. I missed it. That's what I get. Cat DNA. No. Cats with opposable thumbs. No. Fuck that world. No. Toe Jam and Earl. I like that. That's good. That's really good.
You know, the primordial DNA that you have to salvage from that toe, you could call it toe jam.
Possum DNA. Nobody wants a were-possum. Yeah. We need a were-possum. Thank you, Charlie. Tree getting put into a video game. The possibilities for deaths are endless. You are so right about that. You are absolutely right about that. I just want to make a game. I would love to make a game where you're the AI and the choices your brain gives you to do are just consistently stupid in all cases. And so whatever you choose, bad things are going to happen. It would be fun. Yes, Charlie Brown has a were-possum. I know. At least it's not rabid. That's all we know. All right. Well, we should probably bring this to a close now that we're talking about, possums and were-possums and other possums and things like that, or something along those lines. Right?
I think we should.
You think we should? Okay.
Unless there's somebody else we need to ban.
Somebody else you need to ban. I'm getting blamed for this. Thank you very much. If you want to send us an email about what a jerk Terry and I are, or just Terry because he told me what to do, and I just did it thinking he knew what he was doing.
Ooh. At the end of the show, it says you can ban me. That would be perfect.
How would... If you want to send us an email and tell us how recursive this show has gotten, you can send an email to show@DebRobotSociety.com. You can tweet me at Paul_E_Cooley. You can join us at the listeners of the Dev Robot Society Facebook group. You can go to youtube.com/DRS podcast to see our ugly mugs. We have to thank our wonderful host, Podoster, who makes all 14 bazillion episodes of the Dev Robot Society available for your ear holes. If you want to support us, you can find us at patreon.com/DRS podcast, where for as little as $1 a month, you can support the show and get exclusive access to exclusive content.
What happens if you ban yourself?
I don't know. And at the $10 level, we read your name out at the end of every show. We have to. We are, by law, we are required to do this.
It's like those tags on the pillows and the mattresses. We have to do it. I'm sorry.
And our $10 patrons are Andrew Smallwood, JD Barker, Rick Shaw, Cheryl Winters, Veronica Jaguar, Isabel Cushy, Chris Winder, Drew Bernardi, Tony L. Joy, Joshua Sylvester, and Nathan Cosby. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you to all of our patrons for the support. We really appreciate it.
And don't forget, tomorrow, 9 p.m. Eastern, Virtual Balticon will be there.
Yep, we will be there. I have no idea what we'll be talking about. We will be there. So, if you want to see Roche, can
we ban Roche?
He's not on the show. How can we ban him?
Oh man,
we can't even ban him from the live stream while we're doing the recording because I've been told that that's a bad thing. I did ask. Anyway, With that, we will get out of here and we will see you next week. Have a great week. Stay safe.
Stay safe, folks.
And now we're going to wait that awkward pause while the end broadcast button gets clicked.